If you are just tuning in, we are breaking in with some really sad breaking news, you guys. We know at least 3 people are dead. It happened in the shooting in Northwest Austin. It was in the 9600 block of Great Hills. That's in the Arboretum area. Do we have a map that we can show for people who are just tuning in? Just so we can show just that area. Here we go. All right, 3 killed again in Northwest Austin. There may be more fatalities, more injuries. We are waiting to hear from the Austin Police Department. We're also expected to hear from the Austin Travis County EMS and Austin Fire Department. That's according to Austin Travis County EMS. They tweeted that out about 4 minutes ago. That press conference should be happening, well, right now. So we're all waiting anxiously and unfortunately when one of these breaking news events happens. We've got Tony Plohetsky, Luis De Leon out there. They've been giving us updates for the past hour, really. I want to catch you guys up to speed if you're just now tuning in. Really, the important message from police is to stay safe, and if you have any information, to go ahead and give them a call. If you're in the area, you've already been advised to shelter in place. But if you are outside the area, police are asking you to please stay away. The most recent tweet from the Austin Police Department, that's how we're getting our updates at this point until this press conference happens. Here it is on your screen. This Great Hills Trail scene is still very active. They're asking people to shelter in place, report any suspicious activity, and that suspect is still at large. Although, however, it does appear that it's a domestic situation and it's isolated and there's no risk to the general public. Earlier, our KVUE's Tony Plohetsky, did find out from investigators that they believe they know the name of the suspect, but that's not going to be released at that time. He says that investigators have been heavily backgrounding that suspect. So again, investigators, we believe, know the name of the suspect. However, that will not be released. Again, if you are just tuning in, we know at least 3 people were killed in a Northwest Austin shooting. It was in that Great Hills Trail area, 9600 block. Here's the map for you. It's in the Arboretum area in Northwest Austin. Police are, I believe, still looking for the gunman. That was our last update, but they believe they know who the gunman is. Important news to pass along is that they are asking everyone to shelter in place if you're a resident in that area. If you are not, they are asking you to please stay away. This is a really, really heavy police presence out there. We have already seen the interim chief, Joe Cacone, out there as well, along with some of the other assistant chiefs as well. Here's a live look. Important note that I want you guys to know at home is this isn't the exact area of where the shooting happened. This is where it's called a media staging area. This is where they're waiting for that press conference that should be happening any minute now, getting updates from police department, EMS, and also apparently the fire department, according to EMS, and that tweet they just sent out about 7 minutes ago now. Again, this is the media staging area, so they usually keep us a couple of blocks away from where it happened. But as you can see, and what shows the severity of this situation is even a couple of blocks away, you're seeing a lot of police lights. There's some crime scene tape there. If there's any way we can pan around to give people a better look at the area, that would be great. Obviously, we want you guys to stay as safe as possible out there. We are still monitoring tweets from the Austin Police Department. Again, the most recent one coming about 35 minutes ago at this point, saying that the suspect is still at large. Thank you for showing that on the screen. And it appears to be a domestic situation that's isolated, and there is no risk to the general public. However, even though they have sent that out, they are still asking residents to shelter in place and asking everyone else to stay away from the area and stay safe. That's the biggest message we can pass along right now as we wait for these updates. They're also asking folks to report any suspicious activity, but again, they do believe that this is a domestic situation and isolated, saying there's no risk to the general public. Earlier, KVUE's Tony Plohetsky did find out that investigators know the name of the gunman. However, that's not being released at this time, and that investigators are heavily backgrounding the suspect. This all happened just before noon. That's when at least 3 people were killed in Northwest Austin. This is happening around the 9600 block of Great Hills. Can we, or Great Hills Trail, excuse me. Can we take a live shot so we can show folks what it looks like out there? This is in the Arboretum area of Northwest Austin. You're getting kind of a different view than we saw earlier. We can see, it looks like Austin Travis County EMS, an ambulance, Austin Police Department's out there, fire department's out there. You see that crime scene tape. If we're able to zoom out just to give people a better shot of that. I'm not sure if the crew out there can hear me. Police are on the way. We were expecting to get an update any minute now. They said it should come around 2 o'clock. They're asking folks to shelter in place who live in the area. If you're tuning in from there, if you're not, please stay away from the area and stay safe. Again, this is an active search for a suspect who killed at least 3 people in Northwest Austin. It happened just before noon. That's happened in the 9600 block of Great Hills area. It's the Arboretum area of Austin and Northwest Austin. We are expected to get an update any moment now. Austin Police is obviously still on the scene. We are also hearing updates from Austin Travis County EMS and the fire department. Really just a scary situation. Obviously, our thoughts and prayers go out to the families of these victims and anyone really involved as we continue to learn more about this shooting that happened around noon today. Hopefully we'll be hearing more from police any minute now. And again, also Austin Travis County EMS, as well as, the fire department is expected to speak. So clearly a large presence out there in Northwest Austin. Please avoid the area if you are out today or planning on going out today. Again, residents have been asked to shelter in place. Folks at home right now, you are asked to stay safe and stay away from the area. As always, anyone with any information, please let police know and reach out to them as well. I'm trying to check the Twitter to see if we have any updates that we can pass along from you. The most recent one from Austin Travis County EMS, the thing that we're all waiting for really is that media briefing. We'll get updates from EMS, police, also fire. Looks like we'll be giving updates as well. It's supposed to be happening at 2 o'clock, should be happening in a minute now. Of course, we have a crew out on the scene that we've been getting updates from, KVUE's Tony Plohetsky and Luis De Leon as well. Again, we know at least 3 people were killed in Northwest Austin shooting. Austin Travis County EMS tweeted that out a couple hours ago now. It happened just before noon at the 9600 block of Great Hills Trail. That's in the Arboretum area. It's in Northwest Austin. You can see that on your map right there. Again, that 9600 block of Great Hills Trail is kind of a guesstimate, so to speak. It gives us about the right area of where it happened. There's an active search going on right now looking for the gunman. There is a large police presence in the area. Again, the big message that we want to pass along is to stay away and stay safe. If you have any information, any knowledge of any kind of suspicious activity, so to speak, go ahead and pass that on to the Austin Police Department. We did learn that investigators know the name of the suspect. However, that has not been released at this time. Investigators are doing a heavy backgrounding on that suspect. All that information coming from KVUE's Tony Plohetsky. He is out there on the scene working his sources, getting us updates as soon as he possibly can. That's along with Luis De Leon. He's been out there for a couple of hours as well. We want everyone to stay safe, and that's really the important message right now coming from police as we continue to wait to learn more about just this really scary situation that happened today in Austin. Quite frankly, it makes me really sad to be reporting about this right now. But we know at least 3 people have been killed in Northwest Austin. All that information coming from Austin Travis County EMS earlier today. It happened just before noon. You're seeing a map on your screen now. This gives us a general area of where it's at. 9600 block of Great Hills Trail in the Arboretum area of Northwest Austin. We want to give you a live look at the scene right now. I think we have Tony Plohetsky live as well. He may have some updates from us. Tony, do you have anything else you can tell us about this search? I know you said investigators do know the name of the gunman. What else have you been able to find out for us?
Well, Molly, I've been trying to work my sources within the last few minutes and try to get more information. Unfortunately, we're not in a situation yet where officials are publicly confirming the identity of the suspected gunman. They are still working very hard to get that person into custody. But what I am being told is that law enforcement, at least right now, does know who they are dealing with. And as part of this investigation, they are doing backgrounding of that suspect to try to learn more about him right now. But the urgency, the real urgency in this part of the city, Northwest Austin, near the Arboretum, Molly, is to try to find that person. I've seen at least 2 now, helicopters circling overhead. You can probably hear them if you're watching at home as they continue to search for the suspect by both ground and by air. We have been told that authorities need about 30 more minutes before they are able to give us some official number on the number of people who have been shot and their efforts to bring the suspect into custody. Molly, as I pointed out, this is a little bit unusual for authorities to go this long in a major situation like this that is unfolding without giving us some sort of official information here on the scene. But that is the reason for that is because people who might be in a position to give us that information are busy right now undertaking what is the most critical piece, and that is making sure that the public threat is neutralized and that the person is brought into custody safely, if that is possible, here this afternoon. Again, there is a large police presence. There has been since this began unfolding around noon this afternoon. Again, they're lined up. They're using the parking lot of Starbucks as well as Trader Joe's as a command post to try to coordinate their efforts. We've seen a number of police officers in tactical gear carrying assault rifles as they are working on their effort to bring this person into custody. Molly, I was saying earlier that while we certainly are no stranger to violent crime here in the city of Austin, is rising here in Austin and across the country as well in major cities, but I have not seen a police presence and a manhunt like this in a number of years. The last time we've seen this number of officers engage in the pursuit of someone was the Austin serial bomber. That was 3 years ago in March 2018. But again, the urgency to try to find this person is similar to the urgency that authorities had 3 years ago in looking for that serial bomber, and that is to try to get this person into custody before he could possibly hurt someone else. Again, we are still awaiting official word on the number of people who have been shot. This did begin this morning with a response of an active shooter. That was how this call went out initially. So as you can imagine, those words, particularly with what is happening across the United States, with a number of mass shootings in recent weeks and recent days, for that matter, obviously put everyone on guard and prompted a large-scale response. Again, the response now has really turned to the search for the gunman, as authorities also are trying to get us, hopefully within the next few minutes, a total number of people who have been shot, who have been injured, unfortunately, who could have possibly have perished in this incident this afternoon. Molly?
Real quick while I have you, I mean, you've been in Austin for a really long time, been one of the top reporters here for as long as I can remember, much longer than I've been here. Talk about the scene that you're seeing. I know you mentioned it and kind of compared it to the Austin bombings, which is probably the scariest comparison that I can think of. Can you show us around and tell people? I mean, we can see at least probably a dozen emergency vehicles behind you.
Yeah, and Molly, I'm actually going to step out of the way so Heike can sort of follow along as I orient you here. So just to reiterate, this is happening along Great Hills Trail. The Arboretum is to the west of where this is happening, but to the east is Starbucks, is Trader Joe's, is Pottery Kids Barn, as well as a number of restaurants. And that is the area that police have essentially commandeered at this time. I'm going to count ambulances. 1, 2, 3, 4 ambulances. One of those, 5 if I look further down the street. One of those is a command vehicle at this time. We also see that an EMS physician is on the scene as well. Also, you can see in the distance there are a number of Austin police SUVs with their lights flashing. But we're being told, Molly, that what has happened has actually happened further down, further south on Great Hills Trail. And unfortunately, we've not been able to get closer to that scene. But where we are standing is where a number of Austin police officers are coordinating the response. Heike, if you also look to the sky, you can see Air One. That's the Austin police helicopter that is engaged in this search, in this manhunt as well. Yes, if you are familiar with this area, this is a fairly urban area. Again, a lot of foot traffic, a lot of shoppers typically in this area. But as I've also been pointing out, if you go not very far from here at all, the area becomes becomes much more dense with wooded areas, with hills, areas where someone trying to evade law enforcement could possibly hide out from law enforcement. And so that is what authorities are trying to address right now and get that person into custody. Molly, I know we've been saying this, but it just bears repeating, though, for people who are in this area. And that is because this is an active manhunt and there is a gunman on the loose. Authorities have continued to ask people in this area, and they've not really described the perimeter of this area, but essentially anyone who lives or works and is near here is being asked to shelter in place at this time. Call 911 if you see something suspicious. Molly?
Absolutely, Tony, and we want you to stay safe out there as well. Tony Plohetsky out there live for us, bringing us updates to this really just sad breaking news happening in Northwest Austin. Real quick, we want to give you just a breakdown if you're just now joining us. We know at least 3 people were killed in Northwest Austin. It happened just before noon on the 9600 block of Great Hills Trail. It's the Arboretum area. Again, Northwest Austin. Like Tony just said, police are asking everyone in the area to shelter in place, asking people at home to stay home, stay safe. If you have any information, to go ahead and give police a call. We are waiting for a press conference supposed to initially happen at